Hi and welcome to our new YouTube tutorial. In this video we're going to create a 3D menu with a hover effect using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Let's go ahead and describe the project. As you can see, we have here a dark full screen background, and in the center of the page we have here one menu item with a font awesome icon. If I hover over the item, then 4 other menu items will be displayed with nice 3D effects. If I hover over those items, we'll have some nice glowing effects. If I mouse out, then the items will hide. Okay, so that's it about the project. I've created a new folder on the desktop called 3D menu. Let's open it in VS Code and create our working files for HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Then I'm going to open the index.html file and create a basic HTML document. For that we need an exclamation mark and then tab or enter. First of all, let's go ahead and change the title. It's going to be 3D menu. And then I'm going to link CSS and JavaScript files. Let's open link tag and specify here the name of the file. As for the JavaScript, I'm going to open script tag. And we have to specify here name of the file, in the source attribute. Alright, let's go ahead and run the project to the browser using live server. And then place the editor and the browser like so. Alright, so before we start to write the code, I'm going to bring in one more link for font awesome icons. Let's go ahead and search for font awesome CDN.js. And grab the first link from here. And then I'm going to open the link tag in the head element and let's paste the CDN link in the href attribute. Alright, so we are ready to start to write the code. I'm going to create the HTML markup. Let's open div tag, which is going to be the container. Next we need another div tag, which will wrap the menu items. So overall we'll have 5 different menu items. Let's open div tag with a class menu item. And then pass here a font awesome icon. Let's open I tag with the classes FAB, FA, blogger. So here we have the font awesome icon. Let's duplicate the menu item 4 times. Let's change the classes of the I elements. The second one is going to be FAS, FA users. For the third menu item, we need here additional class name, center item. Then change the classes of the I element. It's going to be FAS, FA home. The next one is going to be FAS, FA address card. And the last icon is going to be FAS, FA photo video. Alright, so that's it about the HTML markup. Let's go ahead and start to write some CSS. First of all, I'm going to create some reset and common styles. Let's select every element using an asterisk. I'm going to get rid of default margin and padding. Let's go ahead and set both properties to 0. Then I'm going to set box sizing to border box. Okay, so throughout this project we will use rem as a measurement unit. Right now 1 rem is equal to 16 pixels because the font size of the HTML element is equal to 16 pixels. I'm going to convert 1 rem into 10 pixels, and for that we need to decrease the font size of the HTML element. Let's set it to 62.5%. Alright, so as you can see, the icons became smaller. Next I'm going to take care of the container. First of all, let's define width and height. I'm going to set width to 100%. As for the height, it's going to be 100% of the viewport. Next, I'm going to place the menu in the center vertically. So I'm going to use flexbox. We need display flex and align items center. So as you can see, the menu is placed in the center vertically. Let's go ahead and take care of the menu now. I'm going to define its width. Let's make it 100%. Next, I'm going to create some space on the left and right sides using padding. Let's set it to 0 and 25 rem. Then I'm going to align the menu items using flexbox. We need the even space between the items, so let's use justify content space evenly. Okay, so as you can see, the menu items are aligned. Let's go ahead and customize them. I'm going to select menu item. First of all, let's take care of the size. I'm going to set width to 20 rem and the height to 15 rem. I'll also change the background color. I'm going to use here 5588DD. Right now the icons are too smaller, so let's go ahead and take care of that. I'm going to select eye element. Let's increase the font size, make it 7 rem, and also change the color, make it 222. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do is to place the icons in the center of those boxes. For that I'm going to use flexbox. Let's use display flex. Then justify content center and align items center. Alright, after that I'm going to make the boxes slightly rounded. So let's use border radius and set it to 1 rem. Also I'm going to change the cursor, make it pointer. And lastly, let's use little shadow effect. Let's insert here 0, 0, 2 rem, and the color RGBA 100 twice, then 2, 5, 5, and the opacity 0.4. Alright, so now the menu items look nice. Let's make the background of the container dark. Let's set background color to 030A1B. Okay, so that's it. The menu is ready and now we have to make the work. We have to place the menu items behind the middle one and we have to hide the items using CSS 3D transforms. So first of all, we need to create a 3D environment, and for that I'm going to use a property called perspective. Let's set it to 40 rem. Then in order to share a 3D space with the menu items, which are the children of the menu, we have to use transform style with the value preserve 3D. Okay, after that I'm going to decrease the opacity of the menu items slightly in order to see what happens behind the middle item. Let's set opacity to 0.6. Alright, so now I'm going to hide each menu item separately, and in order to make the process clear, I'm going to hide them using the hover effect. So let's go ahead and start with the first menu item. Let's select menu with hover, followed by the first menu item. Let's use here nth child selector with the number 1. So as I said, I'm going to hide the menu item using CSS 3D transforms. We will move it in 3 different directions and also we'll rotate it according to the X and Y axis. Let's go ahead and do that step by step. At first I'm going to rotate the item. Let's rotate it according to Y axis by minus 70 degrees. So as you can see, the item is rotating. Let's make the rotation smoother and use transition with the values all and 2 seconds. Alright, next I'm going to rotate the item vertically using the rotate X function. Let's rotate the item by 20 degrees. Okay, so that's it about the rotation. Next I'm going to move the item according to all three directions. I mean X, Y and Z. Let's start with the X direction. I'm going to use translate X function with the value minus 50 rem. So as you can see, the item is moving. Actually, you need to remember that you need to protect the sequence of those functions, because when we rotate the element, the axes change accordingly and other functions work according to those changed axes. Okay, next I'm going to move the item according to y-axis. Let's use translate Y function with the value minus 15 rem. Alright, finally we need to move the menu item according to z-axis. Let's use translate Z function with the value minus 50 rem. Alright, so that's it about the first item. Let's go ahead and do the same for the rest of the items. I'm going to duplicate this code and change the number of the item. It's going to be 2. So in the case of the second item, we need to change the values of the translate functions. We need minus 20 rem for translate X function. Then the translate Y is going to be minus 5 rem. As for the translate Z function, let's insert here minus 20 rem. Alright, that's it about the second item. Let's move on and take care of the third one, which is placed in the center. Actually, in the case of the third item, we just need a slight rotation because we are not going to hide it or move. I'm just going to rotate it according to x-axis, change the number of the item, we need 3, and just leave here a rotate X function. Alright, let's go ahead and take care of the rest of the items. For the fourth and fifth items, we need the similar rotations and movements as we used in the case of the first and second items, but with opposite directions. So let's copy the code of the second item and get rid of the minus sign from rotate Y and translate X functions. Alright, let's go ahead and take care of the last item. I'm going to copy the code from the first item. Let's change the number, it's going to be 5. And again, get rid of the minus sign from the rotate Y and translate X functions. Alright, so all items are hidden behind the third item. Now we can get rid of hover from here. And also get rid of transition. Okay, besides that, I'm going to hide the items by default. We need to hide all the items except the third one. So I'm going to select menu items and then using not pseudoclass, I'm going to keep the third item visible. Alright, now it's time to make the menu work, and for that I'm going to use JavaScript. First of all, let's select a couple of elements. Let's create a variable and call it center item. Let's select the third menu item using query selector method. Let's specify here the class name center item. And then I'm going to select the menu itself. Let's create new variable and select menu using again query selector method. So once we hover over the item, then the rest of the item should display, and also we should be able to hover over them until the mouse leaves the menu. So let me explain how we are going to do that. Once we hover over the item, then we will add a new class to the menu. Then using that newly added class, we will define styles in CSS. which will allow us to display the items. In order to create the hover effect, we can use a mouse over event. Let's attach an event listener to the center item and then specify here the type of the event. It's going to be mouse over. Also, we need here a callback function which will be executed once we mouse over the item. So as I said, we need to add a new class to the menu. So we need here menu followed by the class list property, and then we need a method called add. Let's specify here the class name change. Okay, now we can use this class in CSS and display the items. Let's select menu with class change followed by the menu item. So we need here transform property with all 5 functions. I mean rotate Y, rotate X, translate X, translate Y, and translate Z. All 5 functions should have 0 as the value. Besides that, in order to display the items, we need opacity with value 1. Alright, so if we hover over the item, then the rest of the items will display, but right now without any smooth effect. As a guest, we have to use transitions. So let's insert here, transform, 1.2 second, ease in, and then opacity 1 second, ease in. We need transition for all the items except the third one, so let's copy this code and paste it for other items. So as you can see, all the items are displayed once we hover. In order to make this effect a little bit nicer, I'm going to decrease the duration of the transition for the second and fourth items. Let's make it 1 second. As for the third item, let's use here transition with only a transform property. Let's set the duration to 1 second and also use ease in. Alright, so everything works fine. Now we need to hide the items back, and for that I'm going to use again JavaScript. We need to hide the items once the mouse leaves the menu. So once it happens, we need to remove class change from the menu. So I'm going to add event listener to the menu with a mouse leave event. Also we need here a callback function. As I said, we need to remove class change from the menu. So we need menu dot class list dot remove class change. Alright, so as you can see, everything works fine. The only thing that I have to do is to change the background color and the box shadow of the items on hover. So let's select menu item with hover, change the background color, use here color C, 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 F, F. As for the box shadow, it's going to be 0, 0, 3 rem, then RGBA 100 twice, 2, 55, and the opacity 0.6. Besides that, we need to change the color of the items. I mean the font of some icons. So let's select menu item with hover, followed by the eye element. Let's change the color, make it 64, 64, FF. So as you can see, the colors are changing, and now we have to use transition. First of all, let's get rid of opacity from here, and then add background color and box shadow to all the items. duration is going to be 0.5 seconds. And besides that, we need transition for the icons as well. We need color, 0.5 seconds. Alright, so that's it. We have finished working on this project. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video, then please thumbs up, comment below, share it, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell to get notified on coming tutorials. See you next time.